Good afternoon, Caitlin Pringle. Welcome to Talk Badminton.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
Good, yeah, not too bad. To yourself?
Where do you live about?
So I'm in kind of East Kilbride.
Oh yeah.
We've always been kind of south side of Glasgow, and we moved here about a year and a bit ago. So East Kilbride near kind of Myers.
And do you play? Did you play there a lot? Sorry, I got somebody else to join. Andy Cook has to join the thing now. I've double booked myself. That's not very good. I'll take that away. That's fine. It's okay. Sorry. Yeah. So do you play over that way? Have you always been there? I should say.
No. So we used to be kind of south side, and I've always kind of played like the same places in Scotland. So like I'm sure everyone else played in the same places, but the Cockburn and Scotstoun, that's the kind of main places I've always played and trained. The Cockburn's where I first kind of started playing really. I don't really actually know in East
What a
Kilbride
luxury
what
that
it's
is.
called.
That's a really good luxury, isn't it? The Cockburn Centre, some facility. We don't in the east.
Yeah,
They don't have anything as good. It's just nothing
yeah,
like it, right?
yeah. It's always been my favourite place to play. I think a lot of people aren't so sure on it at times. I remember when it used to be the pure rough floor and you would your skin your knee every time you fell over or whatever, but it's obviously dead
I
nice
was
now.
wondering had it changed a lot because it looks really modern online.
Yeah.
How recent is that?
Oh God, I don't know. It was a while ago that they changed it to that. I didn't mind it the way it was before. I just always loved the cover, and obviously I've kind of got used to it because my dad's worked in the shop there, so
Did
I've
he?
just always been
What
yeah, yeah.
shop?
Just the shop upstairs, so it's Gannon Sports.
Oh, was I?
Um, yeah, so he's worked there for years. He kind of started, I think, when the Coburn got built. He like kind of was involved in like building this wee. It's like a wee. I don't know what you would call it, like a wee shack on the top of the Coburn. And he always says like when they first built it, there used to be like rats and like bats and stuff used to fly in, and oh, it's actually grim. See some of the stories he says, and he said like it's obviously nice now, like it's not like that, but they used to kind of have wee like ducats where they would do wee bits of work, and it wasn't quite like a sort of shop. It was just random wee spaces up the top of the Coburn.
Oh,
But it's also a proper kind of shop now, and yeah,
wow. But I've never. So you used to go there when you were young, right?
yeah. I just used to hang about. I mean, my dad was working, so he would work.
Sorry, I've lost you. I've lost you a wee bit there, Caitlin. You there?
Have I frozen?
I
No.
lost you a wee bit there.
I
Just
thought I
just
lost you
went a
there.
wee
I'm
bit.
back now.
So yeah. So he was working in the shop, and you were what, jimmying about, running about the place. Well, like all
Yeah,
day, like all
yeah,
day.
pretty much. No, not quite. But well, I mean, he used to coach well, he still does coach at the school sports. He would coach there, and then he would do stringing in the shop at nights and work in the shops
Ah.
doing that. So if he was there, sometimes I would go along and maybe potting about, play a few wee games downstairs. And then at the weekends, he used to always work the tournaments that were on, or there used to be a club that I went to. The first club I started at was there, and I used to go along and kind of mill about then as well.
That's fantastic. Right, let's go. John, that brings us nicely to the questions. So, your full name, please.
Caitlin Pringle.
No middle names.
No middle names. I know I've been very left out, and
Everybody's
there's
had
I've got
that. No, everybody's
yeah.
had that.
Oh, I don't feel so bad then.
It's just become a thing. The middle name has just become a thing. People keep on saying, "Please don't ask me my middle name," and quite a few people have said, "Don't ask my age." Do you mind me
Oh
asking your
no.
age? Come on
I'm
up.
27, but I don't feel 27.
You don't. How old do you feel?
Maybe like 21. I feel.
Yeah, that's good. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm with you. You'll have to on that. So, you're in your home area. You've always been. You're East Kilbride now. Where were you before? Where did you start when you first
Um,
played? I
so,
suppose.
First played, I was kind of Clarkston area, so always kind of south side. So Clarkston, then into Gifford kind of area, and then we moved up to down to East Kilbride.
Down to
So
East
yeah,
Kilbride, right? And brothers and sisters.
I've got three younger brothers.
The,
A
uh,
lot of people only think I've got two. I do have three. There is one that is
Am I
very
right in saying they're all badminton players?
no, well that's what I mean. So there's one that isn't a Badminton player, and nobody really knows about him. So
That's
there's
harsh.
yeah, not through our fault. He's just never there, so people just don't realise.
So can I say their
But
names?
yeah, so I've got Ewan as he's just younger than me, so I think he's years younger than me, so he's 24. Ewan, and then there's Kier, and then there's Adam. So and Kier and Adam both play badminton. They're both
Are they
in the
both
senior
22 or
squads.
something?
Kier is 22 and Adam is 20, I think.
That's
They're
brilliant.
gonna hate me for that because I always forget how old they are, and they're like, "How do you
That's
not know?"
that's terrible. So, and do you remember? Do you remember when you first played?
Um, Vaguely, so I had a very well, compared to a lot of people, I would say I was a bit later just because I just did not want to play. I honestly had no interest in it, and it's terrible. My dad always said it was just a nightmare to get me to even go on the court. So I started kind of going along on a Saturday morning to Bob's Shuttleworks.
Babula,
Um, yep,
brilliant.
Bob Wheeler, great guy. So
Have you watched his
he
video?
was there. No, I'll need to. I will.
How could you?
I'm
How
sure he's got
could
lots of
you?
amazing stories.
He's good. He's good. I like Bob a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, Bob's a great guy. So yeah, I started with him
Did
and
you
obviously
do you
my
know how
dad.
he got his name?
No?
Oh, no way. I'm not going to tell you, but you're going to have to watch the video to
Oh,
find out.
I need to watch.
How? Because his
I
name's
was
not
surprised he's
Bob.
never
His
told
name's
me.
not Bob, and it will be.
I think is it not Hazmat? Is
It
that
has man.
right?
And there's a
Yeah.
really 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 racist story behind it, and you need to watch it.
All right.
It's
Maybe
unbelievable.
that's
You
why he's
couldn't
never told
believe it.
me.
And I told him I don't have any qualms to tell you. It's unbelievable the story. You need to watch his video. So I'm not going to spoil it because you need to watch it. Just even you watch the first 10 minutes, I was like, whoa, because I said, "What's your full name?" And he says it's Bob Ula. Actually, it's Hazmat Ula. I thought, oh, what did
Uh-huh.
that come about? Then he told me. So you
Yeah.
just need to watch that much, right? Okay,
Okay,
that's
okay.
good. So you never answered the question. When did you first play? What age?
Oh God. I, probably like maybe 7 or 8. I started like pattering about the shuttle, but no, like as I say, it
Yes.
was a drag me onto the court, and
Was it?
Bob used to just kind of throw shuttles up, and I would try and hit them, but I would probably take like a wee tantrum and not bother after that. And he was very good though, very patient with me, and was just like, oh, come on, and enjoy it. And Bob was all about having fun. Like he didn't care like what you were doing. He just wanted you to enjoy it. And I can imagine I was probably an absolute horror at times. And he just kept going with me and tried to get me on. And my dad was the same, but my dad probably was a bit more like, oh well, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
He
So
would Jimmy
yeah.
where Bob would bring you along, kind of. Yeah, I think it's you forget these people are important.
Oh, so
These
important.
people,
Yeah.
like these guys, you think everybody thinks about their biggest coach and who they learned the most from, but actually that guy that made it fun, he's the
Yep.
one, right? I think, anyways.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
100%.
yeah, so his video talks about that, and he's very open about how I actually asked him what he prefers. Everybody said I prefer more advanced players to coach more advanced, but he said no, I like people off the street, like
Yep.
can't hit it. And he said nothing I like more than like a rope on a fishing rod with a net with a shuttle on it and just hitting it and actually seeing kids just laugh and having fun. Yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. So where did you? So you started playing in the Cockburn Centre, right?
Absolutely.
That's a
Yep.
that's a that's a luxury, that isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember your first racket, Caitlin?
I don't remember my very first. Well, actually, I don't. I think it was maybe a head racket. I know for a fact that it wasn't a traditional round frame. It had like a wee triangle at the bottom. I think it was maybe head. But my very first racket that I remember as like my favorite racket, and this was probably when I was actually starting training properly, when I was maybe about. So I started training. My dad like kind of won me
We'll
over
get to
to
that. We'll
start to
get to that.
enjoy
We'll
it.
get to that. We'll come back to that. Hold on a second.
Sorry.
You're not allowed to jump. You're not allowed to jump the timeline. So that question will come later.
Okay,
We'll have to
sorry.
answer it again. Okay. The head racket. What was the name of your first club?
Well, it would be Shuttleworks. I don't know if it was called Shuttleworks at the time, but Bob's Club. So yeah, Shuttleworks, I think it was.
How popular was that, Caitlin?
Oh, everyone went. Like, I mean, well, I say everyone. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not so many of, as you say, like people that have went into like elite professional badminton, but a lot of people. I used to bring my friends along, and there used to be big groups of kids that came along as pals. And somebody would say, "Oh, I go on Saturday morning to Bob's Club," and you would say to somebody else, and they would come along.
How good
So
was
it was really. I mean, when I was there, I remember there being like 30, 40 kids all milling about, and it was really busy and big age range. Like there was kids that came really young and just pattered away, and there was guys that had been there for a number of years and were playing properly and quite well. And yeah, it used to be. Well, I'm assuming it still is. I've not been along for years, but it was a
it?
great.
Does it still go? I mean, Bob obviously still works and he still does it. I wonder if it's as busy now as
Yeah,
it was, kind of idea as
I would
well.
I would imagine so. I mean, I'm sure the last time I saw it, it was still pretty busy with a number of kind of good players.
What you like with coaching?
So unfortunately, I've not been able to do as much coaching recently. Because I've been out of uni and I was working from about 2018. So I worked for about 2 years in a job in statistics, and I just didn't have time with my training and stuff to coach. And I missed it so much, but I
Yeah.
absolutely loved coaching. And very similar to Bob, I really liked just working with really anybody. I loved just working with like whoever it was, just somebody that had a bit of a chat and just wants to play and get better. And I loved just working with some of the
Younger
kids.
as
It was
well,
so
or
funny.
younger, was it? Do you like the kind of age when you were growing up kind of thing? That's the fun age,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh, some of them are so, I just loved, I had a wee group and they were maybe like 7, 8, and 9 and they were just adorable. Oh my God, they were so cute and just wanted to play badminton and have a laugh and they were just lovely, really sweet.
I
So
like
yeah.
I like the egg and spoon race with the shuttle on the
Yeah.
racket. That's good fun,
Yeah.
isn't it? Go up
Yeah.
and down the hall with that. It's amazing, isn't it? And to have a
Yeah.
facility like that in Cockburn Centre, is that where it works? That's phenomenal, right? That's amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just found it
Yeah.
incredible. The name of your first club, Shuttleworks. What shuttles
Yeah.
did you play with?
Public school sport.
What shuttles did you play with? Sorry, Caitlin. Can you hear me? Hold on a second.
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Hello?
Plastic or feathers?
It would have been probably feathers, I would think. Yeah.
Well,
I just think I'm sure we always had feathers lying about. They might not have been the best.
of
They wouldn't have been brand new,
course.
but
Well,
I'm pretty sure we always tried to use feathers like when we could.
that was obviously the benefit of being in Cockburn Centre because there's proper people playing in there, right? Everyone else I've
Yeah,
spoken to from a young age, it was plastics all the way. You know, they're just where
yeah.
you just have all the knocks there, wouldn't you? And feathers. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think if people left stuff, you would maybe get to pick them up from the side and things like that.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Your first coaching. There's the question.
Who my first coach was.
Well, yeah, when you were coached. When were you first coached?
So I think I was probably about 13, I would say, or 12, 13, going into like secondary school
Oh,
really
sorry,
was
can I
when.
go? Can I ask you about one question? Did your brothers go
Mhm.
to? Did your brothers go to the Shuttleworks as well?
Yeah, yeah.
And did your dad just take you all together?
Yeah, well, he kind of went
Was he
along as
working?
well. Like,
Sorry, was he working when you were when you were at Shuttleworks?
yeah, yeah. So
All
he's
right,
he's
cool.
always coached at school sport. Really, I mean, for his, I think he's coached at school sport now for I think since it's opened. He's
Yeah.
worked there so 20 odd years.
No, but going back to when you went there when you were really young, were your brothers with you there when you were really young? Go to
Um,
Shuttleworks.
yeah, they probably were. They started pretty young. I think. I mean, obviously, when I was maybe 7 or 8, Adam would only just have been born, so probably not
Yes.
Adam.
Yes.
But Ewan would have been there, maybe milling about. And as I got a little bit older, they would have come along. They were there from very young. They
Yeah.
quite enjoyed it.
Do you remember your 13 for who's your first coach?
My
Did you
dad,
say your dad?
proper coach,
What's
proper
his
coach.
name? What's his name?
Ian Pringle.
Ian Pringle. Okay, sorry, I meant to know this. I told you I'm rubbish. I'm rubbish with these things. And do you remember the first thing you learned
Oh
properly? Do
God.
you remember the first official thing you learned? Like, I mean, obviously you've had all the stuff with Bob Ula, and then
Yeah,
when you said right, okay, Caitlin, I'm going to give you coaching today. What was
yeah.
it?
I mean, the first thing Bob taught me was trying to teach me how to serve because that was a disaster. Like, my backhand serve, that's another story, but the forehand high serve, that was a struggle to get that going. So Bob probably taught me that first. And I guess my dad, he would have taught me, I guess, an overhead clear probably first.
Was it
That would have been his first thing, I think. Yeah.
an overhead clear? That's quite a hard thing to learn. First of all, right? Most people
Yeah.
like I don't know what. Yeah, I guess I don't know what. Some just hitting loads of shuttles. And was it one-on-one training? Did he
Um,
say, "Come on, me and you," or did you have the boys with you as well?
so usually when I was growing up, I had a really close friend, my friend Kirsten, and me and Kirsten, people used to think we were twins. We were very alike. We're both tall, both blonde, similar build, same age. We were in the same school class, and we did everything together. So if Kirsten was doing something, I would do it. When I got home, if we had a test or Kirsten get and to compare us, she was really bright. I mean, I would like to think I'm quite bright as well, but Kirsten was always just that wee bit better. So if I kind of got close to Kirsten, it was like, right, you've done okay. So she kind of came along with me and did the badminton with usually the two of us. Occasionally I would do an individual, but I think my dad kind of cottoned on to the fact that I needed other people around me to keep me going and motivated. So Kirsten used to come along as well.
And were you better than her?
Um, when we were younger, not so much. We played actually probably quite a wee bit together. We actually won the Scottish Schools together,
Did you?
best win
Wow,
ever.
wow, wow.
And so we played quite a bit together. But Kirsten, she was very good, and but she was very good at a lot of things. She was very bright and probably fell away a little bit as we got towards uni. She
Yeah.
kind of left it and sort of stopped playing. So, but she was a
Well,
very good junior player.
that's good. And so, do you think I'm going to jump a question? Who was your main competition growing up when you played singles? Was it you and her,
So
or
I
did you
actually
play
had a
singles?
very big. Well, I played singles when I was younger. It's never been my favourite. Singles is great when you're winning, but it's one of the worst things ever when you're losing. And I did play pretty much all my junior career, and I had a very good age group. I had a big age group with a lot of girls in it, and it was probably one of the strongest age groups in terms of depth for quite a number of years. My dad's kind of said this to me, and I remember growing up, I was one of the worst ones, so I really, really was not one of the best players. And there was a tournament at Wishaw that used to go on the age group singles, and it was a big tournament. There used to be, I don't know, there must have been about 30 odd girls played it. And I remember it used to be, there would be like four different levels. There'd be like A, B, C, and D. And I started off in D, and we weren't even in the same hall as the best girls. We were in this rubbish wee hall up the back. And the way it kind of worked was you kind of went in and you played an initial game and you got put into a pool and you had to try and win all your games. And then when you went back to the next time, you would get put into if you won all your games, you get put higher up and you worked your way up. So I was one of the worst ones when I started and kind of gradually worked my way up to the top. And that was kind of where all the kind of, I would say maybe when I was about 14 or 15, there was a big group of girls. And in my age group, there was the likes of Kirsty Gilmore. I don't know if you remember Kirsty McGlynn, but they were the kind of two best girls. They battled each other all the time. And then there was like a big group of us. So there was Emma Cook, Emma Gallagher, there was myself, there was a number of girls from Ayrshire Way, Anna Kay, Shireen Spittle, a number of girls from Erskine, so Robin Glenn and Rebecca Finlay, who ended up being my doubles partner. But there was a number of girls in my age group that were really, really strong. And even out with those top girls, there was a number of girls who just, if you got them in the draw, you'd be like, oh my God, no, like I've got them first round. And so it was really, really competitive. And you never, if Kirsty and Kirsty were there initially, they did win the majority of things. But I would say as we got older, it was really even, like across all the events, like anybody could win. So it was always really tough. Like when you went, you had to beat a
So,
number of really good players.
yeah. So there was no individual person that you thought, if I could beat them, was it?
I mean, Emma Cook was an absolute nightmare to play, and she'll know that. I hated playing her, like, because I'm not very good. Emma played all these like slow, like drop kind of shots right into the front, and then she'd flick it past over your head. And I'm about 6'1", and that was just not for me. So I used to hate playing Emma, absolutely hate it, and probably Rebecca as well. I played Becca a lot and barely ever beat her at singles.
It's interesting you're so tall. That's quite unusual, isn't it? It's
Yeah, yeah.
the weird thing about playing against somebody that's really tall is that it's really intimidating. It's really,
Yeah,
it really is
yeah.
intimidating because you're the small and that's, but you know, you're doing three steps. I remember a guy, you wouldn't know him, but Morton Frost was about, he was like
Oh,
Victor
I do know
Axelsen.
Mark Frost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like Victor Axelsen. He's like he was
yeah,
just like one stride from the tee to the back right hand corner of the court, and I'm like
yeah.
five steps. I'm watching him thinking, "Oh, this is ridiculous." So actually, you think it feels as a short person playing somebody tall, everybody thinks you've got it so easy. I suppose I
Yeah,
don't know. The PV Sindhu seems she looks quite tall as well. I don't know what I think
yeah.
she's quite tall as well, probably right. You're
I would
quite.
agree though. Like, I think people do think that because I remember everyone used to say, "Oh my God, Caitlin, I hate playing you."
Aye,
I think it is just that, like, "Oh my God, you're so tall." And I played singles like I played doubles. I didn't play like a proper singles player, so I probably played more drives and like flat
aye.
and kind of attacked a bit more. So it was a really weird game probably for people to play. Um, I was probably a bit of a horror for all the actual singles players because I just hacked away.
Here's a question: high serve or short serve?
I don't know if you know me very well, but my short serve, that's a story for you. But my high serve, I was high serve in singles. Yeah.
Would you? Always still, yeah. It's
Yeah,
funny,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You watch it now on TV and stuff. It's always short serve, always, always. And I always think
Yeah,
it's just a drop and it's going to get pushed to the back left corner. And it's so obvious. You think, why are you doing this? It's
yeah. A low serve for me in singles. I mean, my low serve's a struggle, but in singles, I just thought like if I low serve this, there's too many options for them to play. Whereas I felt with a high serve, I got a bit of time, get myself ready. And we were always taught high serve. I was never
Me too.
taught to do a singles low serve, so I
Oh,
just never done
wow.
it.
But you look at it now, everybody does it. Everyone you play does it, right? Doesn't it? You think, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
good. There you are. So it goes on to your favorite event now. So was it? What do you like now? Playing the most?
Ladies doubles. Ladies doubles is really the only thing I'm kind
Is
of
it?
feel quite comfortable at.
Is it? And who's your partner?
Rebecca Vinley. So I've played with Rebecca for years now.
Like how long? And has it taken you a long time to be good together? Or
Oh yeah. We've played together since about 2013 it would have been.
wow.
But before that, we would have played as juniors. We played, random things here and there. If you were going to a competition and we didn't have a partner, or we ended up going to the same thing for whatever reason. I would played Rebecca a wee bit when I was younger, but as a kind of senior player since 2013, yeah.
And when did you? So all of these things that you're going through, the ladders and all that stuff, were they at the Cockburn Centre? Is that where all these tournaments were?
Yeah, there was a number. So there was a number of places. We played at Wishaw, we played at Cockburn, we played through at Meadowbank. I always hated Meadowbank. It was just awful. I don't know why. I think it was like how big it was. I never liked it, and I just never played well there.
It's quite intimidating
Um,
because it's athletics. Because I think it's got a. It's a
ah,
real. It feels like a stadium. Don't you think so?
yeah, more like an arena. Whereas Cockburn to me always felt like home, like just dead cozy, and like my dad's just up in the shop, and I just play
Exactly.
in.
I was going to say your dad's upstairs anytime there's a problem, right? So of course that was easy. And did it become a thing where you were just going down when your dad was at work and just saying, "Can I come and play badminton?" Or was that easy? I suppose was that?
Yeah, I mean, we just used to go along. Like me and Kirsten would do our clarinet on a Saturday morning and then we would go to badminton together. So and because they were going, yeah, my dad would go and help Bob, I think some weeks coaching, and my mum got involved as well with a bit of kind of coaching and things. And I think it was just, I mean, it was quite easy, and I liked sport, and eventually I did grow to like badminton. So I
Yes.
think once that happened and I was there with my pals, it was an easy option for them to take us
And did you
along.
become like you loved it? You wanted to play all the time at that time. Was it? Do you remember that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think when I made friends, and I think when I had my pals there, I wanted to go and see my pals. And as I kind of got better, I thought, oh, actually, this is quite good, and I want to train more, and I want to get better. And you start to get into other wee clubs and that kind of thing, and then you think, oh, this is actually not bad.
And talk about training? What was the training like? Did you have, I spoke to Andy Cook and he's a very, very physical coach, like hardcore. Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't have the question, well, why would somebody do that? Why would you
yeah,
go to a club and out of hours, so you're not at school or whatever, and then you're going to see this guy that's frankly torturing you for like
yeah.
2 hours, and you think, why am I going to volunteer for this? Did you have that, or did you have a lot of very physical coaching, or not really?
No, I think my dad would have just thought, well, he knows that I would have just thrown a tantrum, so he just never tried it, I think. He did try. As I matured a wee bit and I kind of wanted to do it, I did focus a bit more on it, and he started to build in some more physical stuff. But I think he knew that if he'd done that too early, I just wouldn't have been interested. So his focus was on trying to get me to play, try and get the technique right, try and be a bit more creative and think,
Good.
what are my strengths? Like you can play good cuts. Like my dad taught me how to do cuts, and that was quite a big thing when I was younger. Like I was quite good at them, and
The deception, right?
yeah, yeah. And he was kind of more about, if you can play these different shots, and he knew that like I'm quite tall, like that's a good thing to be in
Definitely,
badminton, and I
definitely.
could hit it hard. Like, and if he knew that if I could get the technique for the overhead right, I would be strong and I could physically hit really well overhead. And similar, like in defence, I always felt like I had quite a good defence as a player. It came quite naturally to me, but again, that was just my dad getting the technique and kind of focusing on that. He did add in wee kind of circuits. He used to just set up wee circuits like round about the court, and used to do things like high intensity sessions they were called, and you would do maybe like 8 exercises, and that would be a mix of badminton and maybe some like wee hurdle jumps or wee short sprints or court runs or things like that. So he would try and mix in the badminton with the physical, and it wouldn't just be come along and do like a running session or come along and do
And how much of it was
skipping.
family? How much of it at this point was it just you? Was that Adam and Kier as well, or was it? Or
Adam and Hugh were
did you have
probably
that, or did he coach them as well?
he coached them as well. I mean, we probably never really worked together because they were quite a bit young. I mean, at Kier's 5 years younger than me, so level wise, like until he got older, I was obviously quite a bit ahead of them. So I always trained with my dad and either Kirsten or there was a couple of other girls that sometimes we trained with as well. And as I got older, it probably was more so just me. And Kieran and Adam, they trained together with my dad from Adam was probably like 5 or something, and Kier 7 when they
Did you ever
started
play
training.
singles against your brothers?
I probably did in fun, but not like seriously.
No.
I've probably stopped playing them since they got better. They would
Yes, of
absolutely
course.
hose me.
Yes. No, I'm just interested. I'm always interested in. You probably find that one of your two brothers drove each other one to be better, and
Oh
when
yeah,
when two boys together, one's trying. I know my family. I always tried to be my brothers, and it was all definitely a driver for me to
yeah,
fight. It became like I don't. I know you're older. I don't care. I'm gonna beat you. I don't care. And it's
yeah,
quite a common theme. Everybody has seemed to
yeah.
have that. Good. Okay, let's next question. Do you remember your first tournament?
I
Trophy.
probably
Actually,
kind
the question is actually tournament and trophy. So I guess a tournament where you won something.
I think the first thing I properly won was that Wishaw age group singles. So I worked my way all the way up through all the groups, and I remember the one that I won. I was in that top 8 group of girls, and you played your first match. So it was 8 girls. You played your first match. The people who won those matches went into a group of 4, and the people who lost them went into a group of 4. And I won all my matches that day, and I won it, and I couldn't believe that I'd won. Like after all these years, I'd worked my way up from the rubbish hall at the back and got all the way through. And as I say, my year group was really strong, so I'd beat a number of really good girls to win
What
that day. And
age
I
were
just
you there?
remember
What
being,
age was that? Sorry.
oh, it would have been under 15, I think. So I would have been maybe 13 or 14.
So you're a couple of years of doing that. Did that happen
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, so I really didn't win very much. I was probably under 15 was the first kind of big thing that I played the under 15 quad, which is Scotland, Wales, England, Ireland.
Did you?
I got selected for that, and that was quite a big thing because there was, as I say, there was probably 4 or 5 other girls all looking for the same one spot, and I managed to get
What, and
to.
did you go away? Did you go away and do that?
I was in Scotland.
Oh, for God's sake, that's a
Was
nightmare.
that Scotstoun?
That's a nightmare, right? Just when you're thinking I'm going to get to Wales or anywhere, frankly, anywhere else. Basically,
Yep.
go somewhere. Basically, go somewhere on a bus. It's all you want
Yep.
to do, isn't it? Right, exactly, right at that age. Good. So that was that. Wow, that was really good. Who was your main competition growing up? So can you give me a single name of somebody that you would want to beat at that time? Did you say Cook? What was her name?
Emma
Emma
Cook,
Cook.
yeah, she was,
Emma Cook.
yeah. She was from Mauchline kind of way. So when Adam, he said he was
Oh,
talking
is
about the
that right?
Mauchline Games Hall, Emma
Yes.
would have come from the Mauchline Games Hall. Yeah,
Really?
she's Adam's cousin.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I think I had a message actually from Steve Thompson. I don't know if you know him. He's from Ayrshire as well, and he knows. I think he's played up that way as well. I think
Right,
Ayrshire's
okay.
quite. Was there a lot of travelling about from people? We also was the league. Was there a league that you played in as well? Have you played in churches or anything like that?
I did play a bit in churches, yeah, with my mum and dad. I used to play for Springfield, and we used to play in this big church hall where you couldn't even hit a clear because it was so low.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Especially you, because you're 6'1", you could touch the ceiling just with your racket.
Pretty much.
Good. Okay, current times. So, current clubs do you play? Do you play a club now?
Not so much a club, but I play for Glasgow North South Clyde in the kind of the British League, so down south. So we
Yeah.
play in the leagues down there. Obviously not at the moment, but yeah. So I play for Glasgow North South Clyde there. And if we're up playing up here when they play the kind of intergroup stuff, I'll play for West of Scotland. But I mean, there's not much in terms of the club stuff that I'm involved in.
No.
We call ourselves a club. We play on a Wednesday night, but we're actually just a group of pals.
Good. I love that.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
that's what I miss from everybody I've talked to is the people that aren't doing any club stuff. It honestly feels like work. It sounds like work. It sounds like
yeah.
work, and the joy's gone out of it. And when I said to Admiral, if you watch Adam's interview, I said, so if you come back to Mauchline, and I said, oh, do you fancy going for a game of badminton? He just like rolled his eyes and said, no danger, no danger. Not because of the standard, because the badminton is work, right? So
Yeah.
tell me about the league thing, the Glasgow North. What did you say? Glasgow. What was the team you play for?
Glasgow and North Strath Clyde.
Right. Okay. And
So we play in we're in the second division down in England, so it's called I'm pretty sure it's called Championship. But they have like a Premiership division, which we have been in previously. We got relegated the season just passed, and we're now in the second division. But it's so tough. Like there's English teams, Welsh, Irish, Scottish teams, and you go down basically for a weekend. And in our league, there's 10 teams. So you play 3 weekends throughout the year, you play 3 teams each time you go down. And they are just the best weekends. The Glasgow team are just the best group of people you'll ever meet, honestly. They're so great.
Who are they? Can you shout them out?
Oh, there's just too many. There's Rebecca, she plays for Glasgow. Frances Heslop, Frances McClure, sorry. She is a long time serving GNS member. Sarah Finlay plays. There's a number of girls over the years that have played for us that are great.
And do you now go down on a bus?
Yeah, oh yeah, we used to have a wee bit of money and we used to go down the train and sometimes we'd fly down, and now we're all stuck in this minibus. But it's actually really nice because you just have such a laugh. Like we honestly, as a team, we really do have the best laugh. It's great. It's honestly brilliant.
That's amazing. Where do you go? Where do they play them? I know the Midlands is big, isn't it? Birmingham, where there's a lot of badminton around Coventry and that kind of area, isn't that? Isn't that
yeah. The championships all played at Milton Keynes. The championship was, oh God, I think it was like Coventry maybe there was a uni near Coventry. I can't remember what the name of the uni is, but that's where they played last year. They played the Prem B stuff. So yeah.
Did you watch any of the televised league stuff? What did they call that again? What was the name of it? Do you remember that last year or the year before? There was I can't remember the name of it. They had a league and it was televised. And it was sponsored by a company, and it was a pink shuttle.
Oh, I played in that once.
Did you? What was that like?
It was
tell me about the pink shuttle. What was that about? There was something about it was worth 2 points or something.
Yeah. I think it was like a power play or something they called it.
That was it.
Yeah. And it was like on a wee pedestal at the side of the court, and you could go and pick it up.
He's going to use the pink shuttle.
It was like the drama of it. That was an interesting thing. God, it was all on Sky and everything. That was a good few years ago now. That was maybe
No, it wasn't. Was it?
2015, 2016, I want to say. Yeah.
I remember
I think it only went on for 2 seasons. Yeah.
GSF was in it. It was
yeah.
It was but the pink shuttle, as you say, on a stand. Loved that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find that again. So that's good. That's okay. Rackets, do you know what you told me about your first racket? What do you play with now? Racket.
I couldn't tell you the name, but I know it's Wilson. So I was sponsored by Wilson for a number of years. Loved it because nobody else is sponsored by Wilson, and I loved the kit I got. It was very tennisy. I liked my rackets. They were a good sponsor. They were really helpful. They gave they were brilliant.
Wilson are good. They're a great tennis brand.
Yeah,
very good. I've got a Wilson racket. Fedra, can't beat it. What tension? How often do you break strings?
Barely ever, because I don't play much anymore. But
no, at all.
No, not really. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the last time. I reckon I probably break a string like every 6 months now or something.
Well,
I barely play, and also really terribly, I'm sorry, I don't know what tension I get mine strung at because I just give them to my dad and he does them.
I'll ask your dad. We'll ask your dad that question. What tension do you get? There, answer that question. And that's a sign of a good stringer that you never break strings. You see, that's your dad.
Yeah, it must be.
Good for him. That's exactly right. Manage family life. Where do you live?
I'm in East Kilbride. Yeah.
Just on your own? You got your own flat, was it?
Sadly not. I am still at home. So I think just because the way I think it goes, like with badminton, obviously I spent a number of years travelling and a lot of the money came out of my own pocket, and really. I was trying to train and get better, and I was at uni, so I didn't have a lot of time. I did coach as much as I could, but that coaching money generally went to me.
It's interesting.
Going to my tournament, to my funding my tournaments. We've all had to pay digs living at home. As soon as I started uni, it was like, no, you need to pay digs, you can go out and work. So we do pay digs, but still at home, and hoping to move out once I get if I pass this year doing my teaching. And I know what school I'm going to, I can try and find somewhere.
Can I ask you a question, and not a personal question on money and sport? I just question whether there is advice that you get. It was interesting. I was talking to Martin, and he started a business on the back of this, and kind of the money in sport, feast or famine, is that what they call it? You know, you have nothing, then you
Okay.
get money. You have nothing, then you've got money. And he's obviously trying to make a business. He knows it, right? And I just
Mhm.
question if there's. Do you get advice? Is there people that do it? Don't really. No.
No,
Everybody
you
just,
you
and it's
kind of
just
have to
feast or
just,
famine. Yeah, feast or famine. You
yeah,
get money and you think I haven't. I was talking about it with Martin that it's in human nature that you haven't got any money and you skimp and scrimp and scrimp, and then when you get something, oh, fantastic, I can get such and such, and then it's gone, and then you scrimp and scrimp and scrimp and scrimp,
yeah,
and that's a normal thing, but it's
yeah,
interesting, and that's not you're not unusual, and I think it's
yeah,
everywhere in sport, professional sport, and and I was talking about the principles of the fact that in sport everybody thinks about investments as money that you invest for your retirement, and a normal person's retirement is when they're 60, right? So
yeah,
you think, so when you're 20s, you think that's a lifetime away, right? When actually, a retirement actually age for a sports person is actually in their 30s,
yeah,
really. And it's more, so I think he's thinking quite strong about that. It's interesting, isn't it, that that's how, you go in this hobby and you love it and you love it and you love it, and then you think, right, how can I make money from that and live and enjoy my life like that? So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
I'm quite interested in that.
yeah.
Family life and badminton, no problem. So you're not playing any badminton really at the moment. Obviously not at the moment, but
Yeah, I mean, I now play for fun. Like, I don't
yeah,
really,
yeah.
I like training. So we kind of set up like a senior squad that tied in with one of the kind of clubs I grew up in. So I trained like at the satellite squad growing up, and Lena Robertson still runs a great setup there with like a number of age groups.
Mm.
And we tried to set up a senior club, which was for people out with the national setup who wanted to train and play competitively, because there's not much for people to access in terms of a setup where you can go along and train with other people. I think people, like a lot of the boys organise and they just go out and they play some matches against each other, but to have a group of people to train and try and get better with. So I trained a little bit there when that was going, but I more just play for fun now, to be honest, when I
Good,
can.
good for you. No, that's good. That's exactly how it should be. That's good. And yeah, do you still play with people that you played with when you were growing up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've got quite a few people that I still play with. Rebecca Finlay, as I say, my doubles partner, we still play together. So we play on the Wednesday night. And we are a really close group of friends. So myself, Rebecca, her younger sister
At
Sarah.
Cockburn. At Cockburn.
Yeah, yep. Court one, always court one at the
Got one.
Coburn we play
I'm
on.
I'm coming to see you. And when this is over, I'm coming to see you Wednesday night. I'm definitely coming for
Oh, you
that.
need to. We're very competitive. We play for a trophy every week.
Do you every week?
Yep.
That's serious. Wow. Family life, your favorite event now? Yeah. So you still doubles? Do you think? Do you play singles now at all,
Yes.
Caitlin?
I occasionally get like a wee whim to just like enter and play singles for a bit of fun. But to be honest, my body is not good with singles. So many injuries and niggles, and so I tend to stick to doubles. And if I can get a wrangle in a brother to play mixed, I can
Yeah, I was
usually
going to
do
say.
that. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He's the ringer for sure.
yeah,
Do you still feel very competitive when you play?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would. I actually think I'm weirdly more competitive. Like, because I think like now that I don't train, I still have this thing in my head where I think, I can still play at this level. And then you go on and you realise you just can't. But I still think I must be roughly at the same level as when I stopped. But if you don't do any training, then obviously I'm not. But you can't get it out your head. And I think, like, I still do have that competitive kind of drive. And I actually think more so because I kind of do the netball now. When I come back to the badminton, I'm like, right, I want to do well at this. If I'm just entering one or two tournaments, I
Is
want to
that
do
very
well.
physical, the training in netball? Is it netball or
Yeah,
volleyball? Netball, is it? Netball
netball,
or
yeah.
volleyball? What is volleyball? What's the difference? What's volleyball? Volleyball's the thing with your wrists, isn't it?
Volleyball's got like a
Volleyball's the thing
net.
is the thing with the wrists, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, you've
Aye.
got a net and you kind of
And
play it
netball's
on.
that thing
It's
where
on a court.
is the netball that stupid sport where your foot's glued to the ground and you look like
Oh, Martin, I don't know if I can take this. Right, we need to get
I'm
one thing
joking, I'm
straight.
joking, I'm joking. It is funny to watch though when you feel like your foot's kind of super glued to the floor.
It's certainly not. I'll need to send you some links to watch netball, because honestly, people have this really weird perception of netball as like a really like primary school kind of passing the ball about. It's really cute. And I tell you, it's brutal.
I bet
Like,
you're actually
it's
really good
brutal.
because you're so tall. You must have a big reach, right? So when your single foot is glued to the ground, you can still go about 4 foot in a different direction, I suppose. But the
You
height
can
makes
lift a
sense.
foot off the ground, by the way.
Oh, can you? Anyway,
I
that's
really
not.
need to send you links to watch.
Yeah, do that, please. Okay. So what? So finally, the last question is: what is it you love particularly about badminton, other than yeah? I suppose you've been brought up with it, but what is it? Do you think about badminton?
I just love like a lot of the people you meet. I love when in badminton when you can get together as a team, and I love I don't know just the kind of I think it's the competitiveness of it, but also just being with your pals and enjoying playing. And I don't know. I think it's the kind of team thing for me when I like going away as part of a team and I like playing with my pals. That's the kind of the main thing for me. And I liked when I trained and played, I liked the traveling part of it. And I liked the routine of training as well when I did train. That kind of side of it I loved as well.
Yeah. How did you? I was going to ask you something there. How do you feel when you see people not loving it?
I mean, I was at one point one of them as well, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did go through phases, and like, I'm sure people that you'll have spoke to already will know that as well. When I didn't love it, and I think it's really difficult when you play at a high level to always enjoy it because there's so many pressures, like in training, like the money side of things, as you said, the politics of it, and it's difficult. Like, see when you get into that rut of getting out of it is so difficult. And I definitely went through phases like that. And it's probably one of the reasons that I stopped training and playing competitively was because I lost the love of it. And I think for people that have lost that, you need to find why you played in the first place. And the reason I played in the first place was to play with my pals and to have a laugh. And that's now what I'm back to. And that's obviously I love it again. So yeah.
Good. Well, that's it. You're done, Caitlin Pringle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I really enjoyed that. You'll see it online in a wee while. I'll post it. Do you enjoy it?
Oh,
Is that okay?
fab. Yeah, no, it's great. It's good to chat away.
Yeah, good. I'm going to stop recording, right? Thank you.
Okay.